What's bracking, guys? So this is just going to be a straight up rant about the U.S. men's national team. Gregg Berhalter's tactics, selection, decisions, everything. So right away, I just want to go to this picture. This is pretty much the shape that Gregg Berhalter wants. He pretty much has said this is what he wants. Basically, you throw everyone forward. You have no coherent midfield. You just maybe have the six. You can see Tyler Adams is the last person back, and everyone else is forward. You got the fullbacks back. You got the midfielders, and pretty much a lot of times the ball goes back to the center backs. No one's coming back to the ball, so the center backs got to play a long ball to a long diagonal switch, which was very predictable in the end. And that's like happened 10 times in the game. You saw John Brooks try it like 10 times. Miles Robinson had to do it often. There's really no coherent shape in the team, and you can see it right here. I mean, Pulisic, the number 10, is kind of standing at the top of the box. He had to just try to get involved in the game. He's a winger. He's fine as a 10, I'd say, at this level, CONCACAF level, but like if you want to play Pulisic as a 10 or you're asking him to make plays, take off Kellen Acosta, he's like a hybrid 6/8. He's not really, a lot of times he had terrible touches, terrible decisions on the ball, which ruined attacks. He's just not a creative player. We basically are playing with 2 6s and an 8 who passes the ball backwards and sideways, and Sebastian Lletget. Lletget actually had a decent game, I thought. And honestly, he did not look too bad in reality. But I feel kind of bad because he's a solid replacement level player, but I just don't get this whole shape, this whole tactic we're attempting. You got Anthony Robinson at left back who has no vision. He can dribble a little bit, use his pace. He can put a cross in that is sometimes accurate. Dest, he wasn't terrible going forward. He had a couple of nice runs and he got hurt, and of course Yedlin got torched by Davies. Adams is a solid player. He kind of screwed up that one attack that looked like could have been a goal. But Acosta, he's we're just not going to create any chances with that midfield without an actual 10. That's why I think you take Acosta off. You bring in Conrad de la Fuente, who's been torching defenders who are much better than the Nashville right back for Canada. So just throw him up there. Make that decision to sub him on much sooner, and maybe we'll make something happen. Actually, maybe we'll have a coherent midfield someday. That's just, and of course the substitutes came way too late. It was the 84th minute to bring on 3 fresh legs. Conrad should have came on the 65th. If you want to play Pulisic as a 6, as a 10, rather than playing 2 6s basically. Adams can get forward a little bit, but Acosta's clearly not going to create much going forward. Lletget will pass the ball backwards. He'll keep possession, but in the end, some of the best chances came from long balls to Pifok. Basically what it was, man. That's just ridiculous. I thought we were supposed to be playing some beautiful football going forward. We obviously have the players. We don't have the system. We don't have the coach. We don't have the selection. As far as what we're putting out lineup-wise, we're playing with 2 6s and an 8 and expect something to happen. And eventually, you can see what happens right here. We have no shape in the midfield. We're forced to put crosses in the box, cross and pray to Pifok, or have a center back play a long ball. It just makes no sense, man. I don't get what is going on with these tactics. I've tried to be as positive as I can be with Berhalter, but there's not really much positive to go off of other than the fact that he had a team that grinded out 2 victories against Mexico where we were clearly outplayed. I think that the individual grit is there, and maybe Berhalter is a good club coach, but sometimes I feel like you just have to dumb it down at the national team level and just let players play. Don't overthink things tactically. Put players in their best positions. Have a shape that makes sense. Have a midfield that's connected rather than having the freaking 6 standing 20 feet away from the 2 8s. I don't know. I just feel like we have the capabilities now. Essentially, we have really good creative central midfielders now in Giovanni Reyna, who has played out. We played him out wide. We've been playing him out wide, and you can even, like I said, Pulisic. If you really want to play him as a 10, play him as a 10. He'll be fine there against CONCACAF opponents, in my opinion. Then throw Conrad on the left wing. If that's what you're gonna do. And actually, maybe we'll have some dynamic play. I still think Pulisic will always be best out wide, running at defenders. That's what he's best at doing, being on that wing, having that space. I just don't get it, man. Like, I still think we should have seen maybe Pepe this game as well. I think P-Falk does bring that target man build, and like that's nice, but I would like to see Pepe with his movement in the space. It just there wasn't really much of movement at times. It was like, just kind of stand there, wait for a pass. There's no dynamic to this team whatsoever. And I think it's something that I was kind of expecting to see in reality, because I just thought maybe the last game, seeing Reyna playing with Aronson, I was like, okay, maybe we'll see Reyna as the number 10, like where he probably should be. Or a number, I mean, I've always been playing as a number 8 for Dortmund, but I don't know. It's just so frustrating to see this amount of talent on the team going to waste because we can't get our selection right. Our tactics are way too overcomplicated. We want to overload the wings and create chances when we have quality, midfielders who are creative. We don't have to make things so difficult. I mean, we could play wide, sure, but I just don't. Dest and Robinson don't have the extreme quality. It's not like they're Alphonso Davies, overlapping. They're still pretty raw. And I don't know, man. Like, if we're going to play wide, obviously have Pulisic and maybe De La Fuente on the wing and have them run at defenders. I'd rather see that than have Pulisic always tucked in inside, having to come back 50 yards with his back to the box to just get the ball, receive the ball for once. Because, I mean, you just see the shape. What is this? What is that? It makes no sense. I mean, DeAndre Yedlin, I wish we had Araujo, because I think Julian Araujo would have, if he was called up and if he accepted the call up and played and he came on that right back spot, he'd done a lot better job than Yedlin. But I just feel we're going back to like the same type of style as before in the end, because we have to, because we're not using tactics that are playing to our advantages. In reality, we're just, in the end, having our center backs try to make things happen. Our center backs and our full backs are asked to be the creators almost, it seems like, rather than trying to get to the ball, the feet of our attacking players, of our guys who are actually dynamic. You got Pulisic on the wing, you have Conrad. Aronson, it looks good at times too. But in the end, we got our fullbacks with the ball half the time. Center backs waiting for a long ball, big diagonal switch. I know that's a big thing with Berhalter, but we gotta look for those big diagonal switches because we overload the defense. Man, just play nice football, bro. Like, I don't know. It's very frustrating because I think there has to be a change soon. I feel like they do need to pull the trigger at least after the next international window if this team does not look improved by the time. Because, yeah, we can grind out wins, but in like these knockout games, but this is like essentially group play. We need 3 points. We can't just be grabbing 1 point throughout. We can't be grinding out 1-0 victories all the time. That's essentially what we did in both Nations League and Gold Cup. We did not look amazing going forward. And it's because of these decisions with selection and tactics, not playing with a 10, playing with these dual 8s. And if we do have someone playing as a 10, it's like Kellen Acosta being asked to make things happen, who's not a 10, or Leggett, who actually, like I said, had some good moments. But what is this? Hopefully Richie Ledesma gets fit soon, because he's a really good player, and I would love to see him play as a 10 eventually. Of course, Reyna should be there when healthy. I don't want to see Acosta and Leggett being asked to make these bombing runs forward and being asked to create chances, because this is bad. This is bad. Positives: Miles Robinson looks very good. Adams is solid. P. Folk looks good as a target man. Pulisic looked fine, I guess. Aronson had he probably should have had another goal earlier too if he would have made that run back post. Negatives, the coach not making freaking decisions to bring on fresh legs, spice things up. You should have seen Conrad on much earlier. It should have happened much earlier, and maybe bring on someone else for Acosta. If you're not, should have been Acosta for Conrad much earlier and move Pulisic to the 10 in the midfield. Whatever, man. Leave your thoughts. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be signing out now. Goodbye.